For the best jerk in the Bahamas, you must have balus, pork, fish, and chicken served with our delicious country-style sauce and authentic festivals. Balus, Nassau East South, call or WhatsApp 376-8951. Balus, the jerk with the soul of reggae and the spirit of Junkanoo. Balus jerk, traditional, slow-cooked to perfection. 376-8951. Get yours today.
And you can begin investing with as little as $25 in an international technology company and an international food franchise on awakx.com. What do you need to get started? Just go to awakx.com to sign up by clicking on Start Investing. So what are you waiting for? Let's go! AWACX, moving people from consumers to owners. Regulated by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And welcome back to the Essentials, the Reset. I'm your host, Hubert Edwards. And we have the principals from AWACX on our live line. Welcome to the Essentials.
Well, thank you for having me. I don't know if I'm one of the principals. I'm making me sound more important than I am.
I think I'm giving you the proper context. I know that you are a very humble young man, but certainly, where kudos is due, then kudos should be given. And so we're speaking. We're speaking to Mr. D'Arcy Rahming Jr., aren't we not?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm the just to introduce myself to your guests again. My name is D'Arcy Rahming Jr. I am the Chief Technology Officer here at AWACX.
Yes, and that makes you a principal, definitely. And so we're talking about AWACX new crowdfunding platform, but more importantly, you have been at this for a little while now. And we are hearing some exciting news. We're hearing about the launch. I've seen in one particular newspaper where they actually said the bell will be rung. Somebody rang the bell just a little bit before you this week. But next week, a different type of bell will be rung. Talk to us about AWACX. Talk to us about this exciting opportunity which is coming up for the country and maybe for the region on a whole.
Yes. So ringing the bell signifies a major event. We know a different kind of bell was rung today for politics, but in exchanges, ringing the bell signifies the opening of the market or the closing of the market, which means that with AWACX on Monday, August 23rd at 9 a.m., you will be able to purchase shares in these two exciting new companies that are about to list. Mm-hmm. And so we tried to localize our ringing the bell. So we actually have some cowbells that they can be ringing.
Yeah, that's important. The idea, though, Mr. Rahming, of having a platform, akin to a stock exchange, really, but to having a platform in an environment like the Bahamas, which is largely driven by micro businesses, small business. If pretty much all of the Bahamas was taken and put into the United States, the bulk of our large companies would be referred to as small companies. How important is your offering, your value proposition, AWACX, to the growth, development, and upliftment of the Bahamian people going forward?
That's a fantastic question. So, as you know, with business people have tons of ideas, and it's really all the business people that I've ever met, they always have one or two of those ideas that are so big that they wish that they had something like AWACX to tap into the ability to go after equity, go after the capital markets, because where AWACX fits in the whole ecosystem is that when a entrepreneur or business person has an idea that's bigger than the capital, bigger than the collateral that they can have to go to a bank. So what do you do if you only have a $250,000 piece of property, but your idea takes $1 million, $2 million, up to $5 million to finance. Well, before Arawak X, you kind of had to just either, most business people either tried to bootstrap it or they had to scale down their ideas, and now they'll be able to properly go out to the market. So that's on the one hand. And on the other hand, what happens when you're the investor and you have excess cash laying around and you want to put that cash to work? How do you get a decent return on that? Right. And so what Arawak X allows is these two people with these two very different problems to come together, and everyone's rights are protected, and everyone can benefit from coming together.
Yes, and so Arawak X is, in your own words, what you just explained, is the classic definition of a market, bringing together persons who have a need and an individual who want to satisfy those needs from a financial point of view. Investment in the Bahamas is an interesting thing. Given the socio-economic makeup of the country, there are many persons out there who will readily disengage from a conversation around investment because they're saying, this is not for me. This is a big man thing. I do not have the type of monies. It doesn't make sense. I take my, $2, which I need to go buy bread and so on to engage in this. On the other hand, the Bahamas has displayed a very robust tradition, a very robust culture, if you will, of entrepreneurship at the lower levels, if you will. And these two phenomena, I think, come together very nicely as far as what you're trying to achieve with your platform. Talk to that small investor, and in the same stead, talk to the budding entrepreneur who doesn't see their way out, and Arawak X can help them in this regard.
So let's start with the investor. One of the key fundamental values of Arawak X is something called financial inclusion. And fortunately, the regulations and the technology have all kind of been matured, where now we can go and lower the barrier to entry. So anyone with as little as $25 can participate.
Right.
And, it is really hard to save $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. And that's a stretch. Even for people who make those kinds of money, it's hard to save that. And so by lowering the barriers and making it more accessible, we believe that people will come into the markets, they will touch them, experience them, and then, it becomes a tool that they can use for the other reasons that people save in their lives. Maybe you start off with a vacation, then it goes to a car, then it goes to a house, and then it goes to a business. And so, but without these tools, you can never really get into the economic system itself.
Right.
That's the investor. On the flip side, as the business, the budding entrepreneur, having the understanding what an investor wants allows you to, as a business person, shape your business in a way that makes it investable. And so we at Arawak X also, we try and any business person that we meet, when they come and they contact us, even if they're not in the position, if they're not investable at this moment, because we ourselves are entrepreneurs, we recognize that, you're on a journey. And, if you say you want to be an investable company, that's like saying I want to be a doctor. And you don't tell, an 8-year-old kid, no, you can't be a doctor. Go away from me. Get the hell out of here. You tell them, okay, you want to be a doctor. You got to get some good grades in high school. You got to structure yourself this way. Then you got to go to med school. And then you got to, do residency. There's a process to it. And so what we try to do to the budding entrepreneur is explain the process to them, and then they can make a decision as to whether or not they really want to do it. And I think in the past, people didn't explain that because there wasn't the opportunity. And that's really what ARAC-X is about. It's about just making sure that people have the opportunities,
And
both the business people and the investors.
Yeah, and I think what you are offering is fundamental. From my perspective, I spent some time in the bank, and as an accountant, one of the most debilitating aspect of the entrepreneurial class, especially those who operate at the very lowest levels, is the fact that they have not yet developed the discipline and the structures, the corporate governance, the things which make it an investor say, let me take a second look. And in many instances, they operate simply at that mom and pop level. And consequently, the potential which is embedded in the original idea never comes to fruition. This really is what you are seeking to facilitate. Now, it won't necessarily affect everyone, but given that you are being...
as you know,
business
people, sometimes you operate a business not because you want to run the next publicly traded company,
right?
But because sometimes you just want to, bake cookies, and someone enjoys your cookies. I mean, so people run businesses for different reasons. But what we're talking about is the entrepreneur that has an idea that's so large that he can't do it by himself, and he recognizes that he needs a team. He recognizes that it needs to be properly structured so he can seek investment, and is willing to learn and to improve his skills as a business person. That's what we're talking about here.
Right.
So
the possibilities.
Yes, exactly. Because it is work. This is not you just sign up on the website and you get listed and then people give you money. If the world worked like that,
we wouldn't be doing
the world
this.
doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't work like that. But Mr. Rahming, I think, while I'm sure that you have some rules which currently handcuff you until Monday, tell us about these two exciting opportunities as broadly as you can without breaking the rules. What should the typical investor, the individual who literally can buy into an investment by trading in 5 instances of 3 for 5?
Okay, so what I can say is one of the companies is an international food brand, and the other company is a tourism technology company. And so when you see them, you're going to be like, wow, these are some really great companies with some really great teams. And what I also can say is what is our listing requirements? What do we look for in companies? And we like to use this team with magic. And team is an acronym and magic is an acronym. So team stands for the executive, advisors, and management. So who's running this business? And what you need to ask yourself when you look at these companies is, okay, has this person done this before? Did they go to school for this? It's no sense in saying you're going to run a medical business and nobody on the team has any medical experience, right? So those are the kinds of questions you need to evaluate. If they're talking about international business, who on their team has international business experience? And so the team is really, really, really important. And by the way, this team with magic is kind of how professional investors look at companies.
Right.
M, what does M stand for? A market. And what that means is a market that is big enough. So this person has to be going after enough customers where it makes sense for him to be investable.
Yeah. You need to be in a place where the business is scalable.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Because otherwise, what's the point, right? I mean, if I give you my money and you can't grow it for me, why would I give you my money? That's just that's logical. It's natural. And the A stands for access to that market. You might have identified that there's an asteroid in space that has 20 times the amount of gold as on planet Earth. But if you can't get to it, what's the point? That's just a nonsensical business conversation. It's fantasy. So A, market and access. The G stands for growth. Right now, where you are, you're looking to grow at least 10 times. And so the idea then is now, if this thing works, it's going to really work. So it starts to make sense on the risk reward kind of attitude factor. Then the I stands for innovative. So something about what these group of people, this team is doing is new and exciting. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, technological. I'm a technologist, but not everybody's into technology. But innovation in business can be a different way of displaying your product, different way of doing customer service. It could be a lot of different things. So there's a lot of ways to innovate in business. And then the C is that corporate governance that you talked about, making sure that it's structured properly in a way that if these people get this money, you have a good chance of, once you invest, of getting that money back out. And so, we as the platform and the rules guarantee a certain level of corporate governance,
yes,
including reporting requirements, et cetera, et cetera. I'm trying to keep it high level because finance people will spend all day talking to you about corporate governance.
Yeah, definitely.
Literally all day.
You don't want to you don't want me to take you down that rabbit hole. But I like this.
I don't think I don't think your listeners
no,
want to go down that
they don't want to
rabbit
go
hole.
down that rabbit hole at all. Team and magic, I think two important acronyms. You have to see the market, because this is where the money is going to be made. You have to have access to that. You have to ensure that there is growth, and this is, as Mr. Rahming indicated, it's above normal growth. We're talking about getting 10x or more. This is where it's going to make sense for you to put small amount and then take out greater value. And of course, the I is for, remind me the I again.
Innovation.
Oh, innovation.
Something innovative.
Yeah. So you need to be doing something different. So, it may very well be chicken in a bag in a different way. Maybe, chicken in a bag, which is delivered by one of these newfangled gadgets, and the person doesn't have to move. That is innovation. Innovation doesn't mean you come up with something totally groundbreaking. And of course, your corporate governance, the way the company is managed, you have obligations, and that is very, very fundamental. Now, in many instances, Mr. Rahming, the individual, the ordinary individual who may, in the first instance, say, well, this is not for me, but will later get type of interested, may have an opportunity to kind of test the waters and kind of get within that arena and that realm of thinking, because you, Arawak X, as an entity, through its corporate social responsibility, is putting on these community investor education center with a view of educating as broad as possible number of persons, so that you now creating some level of sophistication at that level, which is not there before. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so we recognized as we were launching this thing that financial literacy is low in the country, and and here's the thing: it's low across the board, because we often hear things like literacy, and we think, I'm smart. I went to engineering school. I know I'm literate. Not understanding that nobody knows anything about money. Is born knowing anything about money. You have to be taught this stuff. And some of it is not intuitive, which is crazy, because we spend a good portion of our lives thinking about money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we recognized that, and what we decided to do was we've opened one investor education center, and we intend to open 3 more on New Providence, one in Freeport, in the coming year or so. And at this education center, you'll take a course. You'll figure out. We'll show you how to use the platform. We'll explain to you what markets are about. A little bit of education on on risk and some other basic finance stuff. And basically, the purpose of the course is to get people in the center. They can speak to real people. They can begin to fall down the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Finance can become very, very complicated, but it doesn't have to start off very, very complicated.
No.
You just need some basic tenets, and you could be really, really successful with some just basic stuff.
Yes.
And so we recognize that, and we're trying to make that available for as many people as possible.
Yeah, the most important aspect of this, obviously, is getting the education, getting the grounded, as Mr. Rahming indicated. Some persons in this world who like to throw you into the complicated end first, but start at a level and then it becomes additive. You create a foundation, and as you create a foundation, the complexities become that more easier to be dealt with. Importantly, interestingly, you're doing this for free.
Yes, yeah, we're doing it.
Totally
we're
free.
doing it for free. We don't offer, we don't give advice, investment advice, but there's a lot of education that can be done. And then when people start asking about advice, we actually work with a lot of financial advisors, and we direct people in their direction. We're the market, so the marketplace. We provide an important function. And we want to make sure that people understand what that function is, as well as can start this journey, because there's a lot of struggles. People have a lot of struggles, especially coming out of this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But even before the pandemic, really since the 2008 financial crisis, there's been a lot of struggles going on in this town.
Yes.
And the only way out of that is to be a little bit more financially literate. For businesses to get funded, and that's kind of the space that we're in, and this is our expertise. And me and my old man believe this is our calling to help people in this way, and so it's all come together under AWAC X.
Yeah. Now, in many ways, Mr. Rahming, this is kind of akin to a junior stock exchange. Within the context of the Bahamas, it definitely is, given that there is BISIX. And so you are doing something which on one end level is groundbreaking. It's the first of its kind here certainly in the Bahamas. Do you have regional ambition? Is there a view that, hey, once we would have refined the model here, our view is not limited to the Bahamas. It's not limited to the region. It's really a proposition, a value proposition with an international thrust. Is this what I'm sensing here? Because clearly, if you're putting investors together with ideators, individuals who are coming up with wonderful ideas, then you want to be drawing on as wide a pool as is possible. Talk to us about how the mechanics work behind the scenes for this.
Okay, so yes, we do have, we have been invited into several different Caribbean jurisdictions to duplicate what we're doing there. I was fortunate enough to go off to university in the States. Many of our directors, as well as our chairman and CEO, went to one of the best business schools in the world. And so there is a problem right now, and you say problem, quote, good problem to have, right?
Yeah.
That's going on in the finance spaces. There's more money than there are ideas. But what people don't understand is that without mechanisms to bring the money and the ideas together in a properly structured environment, money doesn't flow. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we're doing is making sure that those mechanisms are in place, so that businesses in the Bahamas and throughout the region can access that money because it's there. We can all see it around us. Just turn on the TV and you could see that there's tons of money in the world, and we as a region are almost ideally placed because we're right next to the largest, most powerful economy that has ever existed on the planet, and so. It's just about making sure that their needs are met as investors, and making sure that they're being protected, and that money will flow. And so we're working in the background with a lot of some of the stuff you're hearing with the economic recovery, and making sure that those mechanisms exist. I hope that answered your question. I don't want to get.
Yeah, I realize and I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, I don't think people want to hear about the regulation.
Yes. We're not getting into regulation
on the radio.
But just going back to these two very exciting ideas which are going to materialize on Monday, the 23rd. You know, in a Bahamian context, one of the things that is going to be asked first is who own these companies. And again, I don't want to handcuff you,
Yes.
but without delivering anything or getting into any regulatory trouble, are these entities, as you say, it's an international franchise, but are these entities coming solely from outside of the country, being developed by international individuals, and by international I mean non-Bahamian? Is there a mix happening here? Talk to us about that.
So these companies have Bahamian founders, and what you'll see is there's a document that comes with each crowdfunding listing called a crowd offering document, and it kind of operates like an offering memorandum or like in prospectus, and you'll be able to see who the ownership of it is, because all this has to be disclosed. You'll see the shares that you're buying, the prices. You'll be able to see all of that information. And that information is also beautifully displayed on the platform in a way that, the offering memorandum, the crowd offering document, the prospectus is just the legalese of what everybody else is saying. But we've tried to make it super simple so people can understand it. I believe in, keeping things simple. Personally, I distrust anything that is really, really complicated, because I feel like people are trying to trick you. So we've tried to set everything up to make it as simple. And as people have questions, we'll be in a position. And it's important to remember also that it's not our businesses. We're just the platform. The businesses themselves will be in a position to answer questions on their offering.
Yeah, and so you sit as a platform, as a facilitative agent, and you are the one who's bringing the person with the funding and the person with the idea together. Now, talk to us broadly, and by us I mean the market, the Bahamian people, the persons who are listening. What would you say to that individual who has the $25 or more than 25, maybe $500, and decided, well, I want to get my toe wet in this investment, because $100 is not a lot in the scheme of things, but it would be a good way to get into this realm and start to understand what it means to become an investor and to own parts and parcel of potentially high growth businesses, that individuals specifically, and guide them through the thought process that they may want to follow without giving advice.
Okay. So I will say the first thing to understand with investment is that there's no such thing as a guaranteed idea. So everything I say you have to look at it with the understanding that there's risk here, and risk is not necessarily a bad thing. It just is, and you have to mitigate it. And so you have to ask the questions, okay, what happens here? Do they have a plan to protect against that risk? So the classic risk example is when you drive in a car, you can get in a car accident and die. So you mitigate that by wearing a seatbelt. Same thing with business. So the person who is looking to put their $100 in, you're going to be presented with a lot of different types of information. Now, don't let that scare you off. Get involved. Try and ask questions. This is what the financial is about. I remember when I was 15 and 16 years old, my parents gave me a couple dollars to invest, and then picked a company based on gut. I didn't even read any of the information, to be honest. But then you get the statements, you get to see the process, and over time you get better and better at making decisions. And so, like I say, the team with magic is really the gold standard. Really do take a look at the team. The team makes or breaks a business. A good team can survive bad times. A bad team can't survive good times. So it's really important to look at that team, to look at the idea, and then make a decision based on that. Like I said, the magic part, that takes some time to get used to. Sit down with, because this is your money, you worked hard for it. So if you have any questions or any, concerns, find someone that is a little bit more financially educated with you and have them sit down and you all discuss it and talk about it. And because we as Bahamians and we as Caribbean people, sometimes we have this opinion that, you're not supposed to talk about money. Money is bad. We don't talk about money. But no, you got to get used to talking about money in a certain way. Otherwise, you're never going to be financially literate. And so start the process, jump in, start to get educated, because it really isn't that complicated once you jump in. Once you learn it, it becomes almost like brushing your, well, not hopefully not like brushing teeth, but like driving a car.
Yes.
You learn the rules, you learn what not to do. Hopefully you don't drink and drive. You shouldn't drink and invest. So things like that.
Yeah, it's really a process, and I think that's what Mr. Rahming is trying to drive home. You're not going to jump in on day one and you're going to hit home runs, right? Obviously, sometimes we take
some do, but I mean, don't expect to.
Yeah, we do. We take some risks sometimes, and it take a while. And looking back, we say, "Oh, that was a good one." It turns out to be a great home run. But the whole idea is that you're going to be methodical. You're going to be disciplined. You're going to understand that there's some things that you are going to need to learn. And fundamentally, here is a facility. Here is a facilitation where information is available via their website. They're going to make it easier for you to gain the knowledge and the understanding where you become more comfortable. So if you're out there and you are interested in hearing what is going to happen on this first bell ringing of the market, that is not the election, then certainly you want to stay tuned and you want to go to the website, you want to log in, you want the organization, you want to do all that is going to be necessary between now and I guess Sunday, so that you will be ready come Monday morning. So give us some details, Mr. Rahming, the website contact, telephone numbers, and so on. Persons who, if there are such a facility, accommodation within the company itself, who persons can reach out to, or where can they, what next step can they take? Having listened to you this evening, what is their next step?
So the process is go to arwacx.com, sign up. So log in click for investor, fill out the forms. Because it is an asset, just like your house or your car or your like a duplex, it has to be registered in your legal name, which means that we're going to need passport, NIB card, driver's license, proof of address. Now, if you don't have a proof of address, like a utility or a bank statement, you can, and you're living, like say, for example, you're years old and you're living with someone like your parent, all you need is a letter from them, and that serves as proof of address as well. So I know that was a big problem for people in the past, so we've managed to solve that. Once we have that information, we can process you. This is the regulated financial space, which means we can only allow certain people in, which means that you have to go through that compliance process before we're allowed to accept your money. And so it's important to understand that takes time. So please go on the website, start that process as soon as possible, so that you can, come Monday at 9 a.m., you'll be able to participate.
Yeah, that is so important. Someone who is listening via social media said that they visited the office on Monday just to check it out, right? And his conclusion is that there something fantastic is cooking up at Arawak X. So, you have impressed someone. I know this individual, and if that individual has been so impressed, then certainly I am sure that you have something fantastic happening there. So, Mr. Rahming,
we're really trying hard to make this process easy. So, I mean, and people, mouth could say anything, right? But we're really working to make sure that this is we're living to our values and we're staying true to our mission. So please feel free to reach out. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free if you're having any issues to write us. We're also on social media, so if you can't reach us through the normal channels, you can reach us there. We're trying to be super responsive because this is our country, our region, and we're trying to make this place nice.
Yeah, I think that is important. It's really a fantastic way of framing it. This is our country, this is our region, and we are trying to make a. I want us to kind of end on that note, and so I'm going to ask you, Mr. Rahming, the long-term vision, without giving anything away, without giving any strategic thing. You said earlier. These are my words. This is kind of yours and you and your father's ministry. Ministry is my word. It's how you see yourself depositing significant impact in an aspect of humanity on this side of the world. So as we close, we know that Arawak X is the platform where you can do investment. It's about small investment as little as $25, and they are going.
And if you have more than $25, we will take that too.
Yeah.
25 million is okay as well.
Yeah. 25 is the minimum, and we know that persons out there have multiples of 25. But the whole point is, it's easy for you to get into. If you want to look at it this way, Mr. Rahming talked earlier about risk-reward trade-off, and that's what it is. It's a trade-off. It's better for you to start learning and growing and investing at a 25 level than to go and learn at a higher level where the risk is higher and the reward may not be as good. So we want to encourage you to go to the website, check the website out, read the information, learn for yourself. Don't go on the basis that you heard Mr. Rahming said on Edwards' radio show. We want you to be an informed individual, because informed investors are the best investors that we know. So talk to us about the large vision and where you intend to use this as a form of ministry to impact the Bahamas, to impact the region.
Well, I was fortunate to grow up in a business family. Both of my parents are executives and were executives. My dad opened up his own management consulting practice, and after university chose to come back to join him in that practice. And so for me, business is more than just about making money. In fact, the bad business people are the ones that focus on money. The good ones are the ones that focus on creating value and making sure that their customers' needs are met. And then, of course, they're rewarded with money. So when business thrives, society thrives, because businesses, when they're going through these, they get funding. In order to go after opportunity, they have to hire people. And not only just people at all levels. They have to hire professionals, which means that you need really talented people. Like, for example, with us at Arawak X, we have several people on the firm that have master's degrees in their various expertise. So, and as a millennial who had to make that decision of whether or not to come back home, it's only, we have to build for people to make that decision, and to make that decision as easy as possible, because I think most people would prefer to stay at home, right? Where, mom could cook you go to Sunday dinner and do that stuff, but they are faced with economic challenges and economic reality. And so for me and for my old man and for all of us at Arawak X, we believe that what we're doing is going to help make that process, make the society a little bit nicer. And so that's kind of the vision we have for the Bahamas, but also for the region as a whole. So people understand that this is not charity. We're not, I am a business person as well. We make our money when a raise is successful. So the business wins, the investor wins, and then of course that's when we get paid. So it's important that everybody's needs are being met, and I don't see why not. This like I say, there's America is right there. There's so much money floating out there. We don't need to be worried about this scarcity, but we do need to understand it and to tap into it.
Yes. And I think that is an important point to make. And so we want to thank you so much for joining us this evening, for sharing with us and sharing with the audience this information. I think it's vital. Arawak X, in my own words, is creating a pipeline through which they intend to flow and make a connection between investor and the individual who generates the idea. Therefore, if you have been out there and you've been struggling or you have given up because you figured that you won't be able to find the investment necessary to boost your dream, to fuel your dream, to move forward, here is a second opportunity. And if you're coming out of the gate, then certainly this is an opportunity for you. But if you're not on that side and you're certainly just on the investor side, here is a big opportunity for you. Starting with a minimum of $25, you can invest in companies which are at least by 10x. That's what they would have stated. And you want to necessarily, starting this minute, go to their website, check it out, get all of the information that you can so that you can start to move your wealth forward. This is about, as Mr. Rahming says, the CTO of this organization, look, this is not simply about us making money. It's really about how we can change Bahamians into becoming owners within their own economy. Last word, final word, Mr. Rahming.
Go to the website and sign up. Offerings are on a first come, first served basis, which means that if you're in process and the offering subscription is taken up, you have to wait until the next offering, the next company, or you have to wait until it's listed on the secondary market. So I encourage people that if you're on the fence, it's free to sign up. So we don't. Like I say, we only make money when the issuance is closed. So please get signed up, get registered properly. So on Monday the 23rd at 9 a.m., you'll be able to see the information, make a decision, and then go from there.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. D'Arcy Rahming Jr., the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer at Arawak X, offering this wonderful opportunity. Check it out, go to the website, and we certainly look forward to hearing after Monday the 23rd how successful this has been. So there's going to be a ringing of the bell in the morning, and when the market closes in the evening, we certainly want you to come back and tell us, because it is important for the market to have that type of a feedback. Thank you for being here with us this evening.
And thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, man, definitely. And so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, go check out the website. Dust off those $25. Dust off multiples of $25. Start to thinking about it. Start to reimagine, to dust off your old ideas, because there is help us to kind of change the marketplace, to fill a gap. There has been a gap in the marketplace, and this Arawak X